I'm glad to see you.
I've trained a bit with a sword, and I think I've got the hang of the basics. Can you teach me something new?
You're a bit cocky, ain't you? All right then, come and show me what you can do.
I'm ready.
Stand there, take your weapon, and fight. If you look like you know what you're doing, I'll teach you a trick or two.
Ow! Ugh. Ow! Ugh. Ow! Mm. Ugh. Ow! Mm. Ugh. Mm. Ugh. 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 Ugh.
Enough. That will do. That wasn't at all bad. All right. It seems you're ready for the next lesson. Now, pay close attention. I'll teach you the most important thing. It's good to be able to attack. It's good to be able to fend off your opponent's blows. But the best is when you're able to do both at once. Master stroke is when you parry your opponent's blow and strike him at the same time. See? I parry and strike in one move. There's no defense against this technique if it's executed well. The thing is to time it right. Block right into your opponent's strike and match your movement to his. One elegant technique and the fight is won. Try it. I'll attack slowly. You parry. Nice. Ah, that's it. All right.
G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance with Mags, and we have just completed our training to finally get access to the Master Stroke. Now, the Master Stroke is just an attack that triggers on a perfect block that allows an instantaneous strike in return against the target that the target cannot block themselves. It's incredibly powerful. It's also incredibly important when we are encountering some of the enemies that we will be running into towards the end of the game. Enemy characters that are so powerful that our regular strikes are going to be largely ineffective. So, having completed that training, it is time to move on. And in our last episode, we found Ginger. And Ginger informed us of a man with a limp from the town of Uzhitz to the north that was involved in the attack. Now, we don't know the name of this man, but we know he is in Uzhitz, so that's where we're going. But this does give us the opportunity on the way to stop in on another side quest, to deliver the ring that we took back in, I think it was the second episode, and deliver it to the miller as requested. Yeah, that ring is still bouncing around in my inventory. Now, you need to remember, the millers are essentially fencers. They would be, if this was Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, the millers would be the Thieves Guild. Right. I guess. And you're the miller. Okay.
I am at your service, Sir Knight.
I ain't no bloody knight, mate. Anyways, here's
Miller
your ring.
Peshek from Ratai sent me with this ring for you.
A ring?
Here it is.
Useless fucking bauble. You must be Henry, right? Peshek told me about you.
What the? Why did you throw it away? Do you know how much trouble I had to get it? Peshek said it was important to you.
Like I said, it's a piece of junk. It was just a test to see if you've got the balls to work for the miller. It's a custom of ours, testing fledglings in the trade with a nice little wild goose chase. We need to see if you'll be hobbled by pointless principles, or if you're willing to use your head. Congratulations. You passed the test, and now we'll have a few jobs for you.
You could have just asked me, you mongrel. Anyways, what other jobs do you have?
Do you need help with anything?
Just in time. There is a certain matter I need resolving. I have some scores to settle with the commander of the Talmberg Guard, and I want to get my own back. You may have heard that Sir Robard of Talmberg is a stickler for having all his gear neat and tidy.
The commander of the guard? Sir Robard? I'm already confused. Just tell me what I need to do.
It's like this. I want you to break into the Talmberg armory and steal a few Waffenrocks with the coat of arms on them.
Ah, and once Sir Robard finds some of his guardsmen's equipment is missing...
He'll see to the commander of the guard, who's the only one with keys and answerable for their safekeeping. When Robard finds out he's losing things from under his nose, he'll have him whipped. And I'll get what I'm after. Satisfaction. Take at least 5 Waffenrocks to make it a proper stink.
Yeah. You're a proper cunt, you are. I kind of like you.
Consider it done. What am I to do with the Waffenrocks once I have them?
I'll burn them to get rid of the evidence. Just make sure you don't get caught.
Well, I'm probably going to have to work on my sneak a little bit for that one.
Good luck to you.
But, one quest out, new quest in. So from the Millers we continued north towards Talmberg, and we didn't really have much in the way of interruptions. Outside of this one, might as well check it for loot. What have you...
Who's that? Why are you... What are you doing, you murderer?
Excuse me?
I didn't kill anyone. When I got here, the body was already lying there.
I saw you stealing from her.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I killed her. Oh, I was looking at the wounds,
for
first
signs
aid.
of life to see if I could help.
Uh-huh. And could you?
Unfortunately, it was too late.
All right. I suppose you're innocent after all.
I'm glad you saw sense.
Saved by the first aid skill. And what are you doing here?
And what were you doing here exactly?
What do you mean by that?
I think I should go and report you. They'll listen to me.
All right, then. I did it. I didn't want to kill her, only to scare her. She lunged at me, wanted to take the knife from me. And this is how it ended. You don't really have to tell anyone, do you? And...
That cut off. Anyways, alright, pay up and you can go. You won't pay your way out of this. I don't want anything from you. Go. Now let's do the right thing.
I won't take coin to cover up a murder.
May the Lord
No,
watch
I'll
over
take
you,
coin to
Henry.
commit a murder, but I'm not going to cover up somebody else's. And how the fuck did you know my name was Henry? And so on we continue to Talmberg. Now, the last time we were here, we were literally escaping the place in order to head back to Skalitz. We've never been able to actually have a good look around when we weren't kind of being hunted, or at least doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. It's actually larger than I thought it was. Now, of course, the Miller's mission that we just collected is to steal Waffenrocks out of Talmberg. But I don't want to do that one just yet. I've got to work on my
Henry,
skills
I'm
for
glad
that
you
a little
came.
bit. How did you know my name was Henry? Anyways, then we run into
Hey!
this.
Wait a moment. You're the young fellow who came here from Skalitz, half dead, aren't you?
Yes, that'll be me. Why?
The lady of the castle was asking after you. She wants to talk to you.
Ah, I'll go and see her then. Thank you.
Very well. Don't make her wait. Take care now.
Yes, Lady Stephanie wants me to come as soon as possible. Anyways, this was an unscheduled and unplanned stop at Talmberg, so, well, we didn't really have much choice. We better drop in and see exactly what it is that she wants. Now, this was annoying enough. However, it turns out the noblewoman, despite it being around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, had no interest in getting out of bed, so she received me in her night clothes in her personal
God save.
chambers.
Can I help you with anything?
Well, yeah, you can put some fucking clothes on for a
I
start.
heard you wanted to talk to me, my lady.
It's true. I need something from you.
How can I help?
God, you're gonna get me hung, woman.
My cousin, young Sophie, is going to be wed. It will be an entry into a new life, and I want everything to be perfect for her. I'm looking for a few things to give her as a gift, and you're going to find them for me.
My lady, why me?
Normally I'd let the Chamberlain take care of it, but he doesn't have any taste. I can't trust him with this. And I've been told
Henry's the
no
son of a
task
blacksmith.
is too challenging for you. Is that not true?
Very well.
It will be my honor, my lady.
It's only
I
gathering
need you
stuff
to
for a
pick up
wedding.
an
It should be
ornamental
fine.
crown from Sasau for Sophie, wine from a merchant in Ratai, and a roan from the stable in Ujits.
Okay, so I'm going to a couple of those
Who am I
places
supposed
anyway.
to pick up the wine from?
From Conrad Hagen in Ratai. He's the only person in the whole region who can supply a genuinely good wine. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Here you go. That should be enough.
I'd like to
And
know
the
where you pulled
ornamental
that coin
crown?
from.
I had the engravers in Sasau make it, but now they've written to say it will take a while longer. That just won't do. The wedding is almost upon us, and I need it. Go and see Master Jeronim Slesky and pick it up.
You said a roan from Ujits.
Precisely. It's a beautiful animal. Wait till you see it. Dietrich said he'd ride it here himself, but I can already imagine how he'll end up killing himself on that horse. But you, so young and vigorous.
There is absolutely no way that I'm not going to get the option of bang
Wine,
Stephanie at
a
some
roan,
point.
and a crown. I can handle that.
Thank you, Henry. I just wish there were others here I could trust so well.
Yeah, if I ever take that option, I'll be really disappointed if I don't either get hung or become the most wanted man in this entire region. So, that gave us another side quest to complete, and somehow I feel like at some point I'm going to wind up regretting this one. Still, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I only had one more encounter on my way to Allshits, but it did leave me with a question.
God save you, Henry.
Oh, for fuck's sake, how the hell does everybody know my name is Henry? I've never been up here before. Christ's sakes. If I had to point at a major complaint I have about the game at this point, that would be it. There should be absolutely no way any of these people know my name or who I am, and yet I seem to be on a first-name basis with them. And welcome to Allshits. So, we have 3 quests here now. One for Lady Stephanie to collect a horse, one which is our primary mission to investigate the limping man, but I have one other that I want to knock over first, and that is to learn to read. The scribe we were directed to from the bailiff at Ratai is here. In fact, we're at his building now. It took me a little while to find the entrance. It's actually in the middle. I was riding around the outside. But this is a quest that will actually let us start reading books and reading things around the world. As it turns out, choosing to do this quest before I went on to continue the investigation into the limping man was actually a very smart decision. Straight in. No private area warnings, okay. And this will be our scribe.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
I'm not a knight, mate. Alright, so we can ask about the man with the limp. Now let's read.
I'd like to learn to read.
You? You don't look like the makings of a priest or clerk. But why not? I've taught all sorts. Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
How much is this going to cost?
Alright. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
Yeah, 50 actually isn't all that bad.
Here are your groschen.
Then we may as well start. He did break his vow, but better than to dishonor it here. May he follow his heart. Wake up, lad. It's time we were getting on. So, let's see you read a bit. There's a book here on the table. Try to read it.
Will I manage?
You ought to be able to. It's a simple text. Come back once you've worked your way through it.
Okay, so the reading mechanic in Kingdom Come Deliverance is very, very interesting. Before you learn to read, all the books are basically ciphered and scrambled and unreadable. However, once you start to learn to read, the letters will unscramble themselves on the page and you'll begin to be able to understand what they're saying. Now, the higher level your reading skill is, the clearer and clearer the letters will get until eventually they're just written in plain English and you can read them perfectly. Until you get to that level, however, anything you read, you've sort of got to work your way through. This is actually the story of the Goose and the Golden Eggs, or at least a variant of the story of the Goose and the Golden Eggs, that's meant to be a moral story about greed.
I've read the book.
Wonderful. So tell me, what have you learned?
That the guy in the story was a real arsehole, but I assume you want the comment about being greedy.
That being greedy doesn't pay.
Excellent. You're one of my most talented pupils.
I'm your only pupil, there's nobody else here.
Like I told you, books are valuable. And the words that you place in them ought to be no less so.
Does that mean that I can read then?
Yes, you have the foundation. Remember, my boy, the pen is mightier than the sword. To fully learn your way around words will take a lot more reading yet. Now we'll move on to the second lesson, which will be much harder. Many books are written in Latin, the language of erudite and religious men. If you really want to be able to read, there's no getting away from Latin. There's a book on the table with some text. Read it and then come back. You need not understand it, but you should master the letters.
I only just managed the fable about the goose, and now you're asking me to tackle Latin.
You're a clever lad. You'll manage. God be with you.
Okay, so the second book, the Latin test, is even easier because you can't read it. At least at this stage you cannot read Latin. But what you can do is memorize the order that the words appear on the page. And that is all you have to do.
I read the page.
So tell me, Distrupule, what's written there?
Nullus est liber tam malus, ut non alique parte prosit.
Good heavens! Don't tell me you haven't had lessons before. Excellent. Well, there's nothing more I can teach you. Congratulations. You can go and be ordained right away.
Thank you, Domine. I'm feeling a lot wiser.
Good luck to you.
And with that, we can now read. We're pretty crap at it, but at the very least we can read, so it's time to continue our investigation.
I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
Must be that farmhand Lubosh. I don't know what the hell you'd want him for, and I don't much care. He's got a cottage on the edge of the village near the stream.
And so it turns out that the scribe was actually the perfect person to ask about our limping unknown man, and we now have the location of his house. Now, this of course sounds absolutely ideal. Just a quick ride down to the stream, across we go, around the corner, and to his house, and we should have this mystery all solved. But things are never that bloody easy.
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
If that's what you call nothing to see, I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhoff?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Sacre. Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Well, shit. First things first, when was the body
When did you find the body?
found?
And did anyone see anything?
Just now. And nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
Could have been dead before.
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel. Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter overall. Yeah, has he been up to anything suspicious?
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Yeah, the last couple of days has been the gap since the raid on the stud
Did he have any
farm.
kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhoff raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
That's interesting. And that is just about it for you, I think. What do the villagers have to say?
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
I'm not a knight.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Leipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhoff, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course. Ask away.
I suppose start with the basics.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much, but I wouldn't wish an end like that on any man.
He's a bit of an arsehole,
Have
man.
you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he was skulking.
Probably off with the other members of the
Do you know what
raid?
Lubosh was doing the day Neuhoff was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
He was a loner. He didn't even have any mates in the tavern.
So he liked to drink.
That's all. Thank you.
So I might go and ask at the tavern later. Might be something. I do kind of love the fact that this has turned from a medieval sword-fighting RPG into a Sherlock Holmes investigation. Alright, so a search area is the entirety of town, pretty much, going all the way into the areas I haven't entirely covered yet. Now, we're really going to need something to narrow this down a little. Excuse me? Have a good look there, love. I want to talk to you now.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Leipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhoff, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away.
Same questions as before.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
He was a drunkard and a beast. And lazy, too. Idle hands are the devil's tools.
Different answers, though.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
The only thing seemed suspicious was how a rogue like him suddenly started going to church. Now I see why, of course.
Well, that's interesting.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
What do I care about that scoundrel? I was glad he stayed out of my way.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
He was always a loner. Except lately he started talking to the parish priest of all people.
That's all.
Alright.
Thank you.
So he's been talking to the priest, so we need to go and probably have a speak with the priest. First things first, let's have a look around in here, and at Limpy Lubosh himself. I'm not sure having a candle lit that close to a pile of hay is too safe. Yeah, let's read this.
Looks like this is meant to be a warning. But for who? And why? Maybe the gang had a falling out. But a bandit who knows how to write isn't something you see every day.
No. And Judas himself, and he's been recently seeing a priest.
What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream.
Yeah, dead before the knife work begun. So, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything?
Alright, so obviously we're supposed to look at the body before the head. He was already dead when that happened. Well, I can't get a look at the arms. He's straight up nailed to the wall, but... Oh. Well, he's not going to be needing this, I don't think, and I could use a feed, so... Surprisingly clean house. Though the roof in that room is kind of fucked. He hasn't got anything of particular interest.
Nothing unusual. Nothing unusual.
Yeah, just vegetables. Standard storage stuff in there. What do we got?
Nothing here.
Just some mead, wine, and this chest. So, let's crack this thing open and see what's inside of it, see if there's anything interesting in there. All for investigation purposes, of course. And another point in lockpicking, I'll definitely take that. Bludgeon, with no blood on it, so that's fine. Cobwebs, somebody did mention I should probably be grabbing cobwebs whenever I see them, so... And the rest of it's just a bunch of skins and bandages. So he's got no interesting loot inside of his house. Speaking to a priest, Judas written on the wall, and he was bludgeoned to death before they hacked him to pieces. Well, next stop is to go up to the church and see whether or not we can have a word with the priest. And that is the Tavern. One of them did mention he likes to have a drink, so we can probably stop in there after the church. It's always the easiest building to find. It's usually the biggest one in town. Other than the Castle Keep, of course, if there is one. Oh, this is pretty. God, they went above and beyond, putting the artworks on all the walls inside the church. I'm impressed. I am impressed. Alright, Father, let us have a word.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Leipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. And one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
There's got to be some kind of exception.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
You can't hurt him now. You can condemn innocent people to death. I don't want to threaten the priest. I guess I can just be... It's only 5 over 7.
But Lubosh is dead. You can't hurt him, but if you don't tell me, more innocent people may die.
If I told you
fail and
betraying
reputation
a
lost.
vow
Damn
that's
it.
a cornerstone of the Holy Church, if people believed the sanctity of the confessional couldn't be trusted, the consequences would be even worse than that.
Worse than the death of innocent Christians? Worse than the murderer escaping punishment?
No one escapes punishment.
We've only got really one line here that follows, so...
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
God be with you.
Alright, well that works for me because the tavern was my next stop anyway. So, as it turns out, the priest actually legged it from the church straight to the pub the second that I left the church myself. By the time I'd done a bit of a ride around, he was already here. Now, that was good because I really did want to continue the interview and find out exactly what happened, but I was not expecting the interview to go quite like this.
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
And the interview of Henry.
I'm from Galax.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
Excuse me, we're having a private conversation here, lady.
It was terrible. Seems so
At least the Henry back history here is going through fairly quickly.
He just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but
I'll bring it right away.
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened in Noyel? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So,
that was a quick conversation change.
Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
You're making excuses as too aggressive. We'll go
I
with dead
understand,
end.
but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells
I
his
lost reputation for that.
Where
Why?
do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. The tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing
about
about
the
it?
crime?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison. And nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no
That's
mercy.
not exactly
Their hearts are
not true.
corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything.
Even
you want
in
to
this time
baptize a
frame,
child?
the
Pay.
church was
You want to steal and
ridiculously
murder?
wealthy.
Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, This Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Well, we seem to have gotten a little bit off topic here. Very much into the sermon. Enough about preaching.
One beer for me.
I suppose we'll continue the conversation, see where it goes. I mean, if we can get into his good graces.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a
A
look,
little overzealous, says the
I'm
person
sure
who
he'd stop
delivered
condemning drinking and lying with women.
Here you are, and good health.
Yeah, I suppose talk about the teachings.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
Well, I can read now, so that's a start. So, yeah,
Thanks for
enough
the
of
sermon,
preaching.
but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Yeah, so I don't want to get into his good graces, so let's have a drink.
That sounds like a
and
good
reputation
plan.
gained. Excellent.
I knew you wouldn't
That's
let
what
me
I was after.
down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł desnej smutek, do mnie loi rano utek, niech już małżeński majstrat, do wczera żylne staje prak. Už sej bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jí kůži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Půjdem se mámy, panorama slávy a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned, ať točí se svět.
Enough of this!
Uh-oh.
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Oh. You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Oh, you're not serious. A drunken bar brawl against the guards with the priest.
Fucking hell.
No, apparently it is completely serious. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have worked on my hand-to-hand combat. Alright, come on, get away from the priest. I need him still ticking. I am definitely not a drunken master. Although, to be fair, this guy here can't seem to swing a decent punch either. Ow. Okay, apparently that's the end of that.
So, my dear, wouldn't you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
And I'm
I'd
apparently
love
still
to.
shit-faced.
And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
I think he's well beyond caring at this point.
Watch the step, my dears.
This is not how I pictured a
Godwin,
interview with
you're
a man of the
rude.
cloth going.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Well, I hope so. I never wanted that monetization anyway. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.